people. Very good evening. And so I was just thinking about it's all raining out here, and as I keep practicing my breathing practice, which is an integral part of Nirbija Yoga, I was thinking that Ice Age has not really in some way abated. The ice has, well, now we are in a different age than, seeing snow and ice everywhere around us. But there is a certain level of ice melting that is yet to happen. It's like we have carried that ice age or some amount of what needed to melt within us. We often refer to people as, what you're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. It is not an accident that we have this idea of an iceberg. It may be coming from the idea of, the Titanic and, there are icebergs and maybe from all of that, I don't know. But when we refer to depths about people, we have the image of an iceberg and the tip of it, and what you see is just the surface and the rest is all inside. In terms of trauma care, we often refer to this phenomenon called defreezing. And what that means is what had to flow, now ice is a solidified form of water, right? And if if water gets even more heated up, it becomes vapor, and it becomes the rain. Goes up, forms clouds, and when condensed, when it releases the water, it rains. Now, ice is held in energy. If you heat up, if you release the energy from it, it becomes water. And then there is this reference of life flowing, which is flow is a reference to water. There's a flow of life, like as though life is a river, or a flowing stream, a flowing body of water. And when it is not flowing as well, it's kind of frozen or stuck. And in trauma care, the stuckness or not flowing through the different movements of life is in some form of trauma, which has had something that had to be flowing, not flowing, it's stuck. And I'm repeating myself. But I'm trying to bring attention to an idea by which you could recognize, in certain ways, stuckness within your own system. Now, this is not to gauge somebody else, but it would help to recognize stuckness or not flowingness within your own constitution. Now, coming back to my idea of the Ice Age, a lot of us may not be connected as well with maybe our neighbors or with our own family members, or not as connected as we should be with the country, or with the geography, or with Mother Nature, or with the universe, or with our own self. So there are different levels of connectedness. On my website, I have posted a blog which says wholesomeness checklist. So that gives a list of those different levels at which we could sort of check in and see how connected are we through these different levels. And to the extent that we are not connected, or to whatever level in that list we are not connected, to that extent there is in some way no flowingness, which means there is some form of stuckness or some form of trauma, because of which there is not that interconnectedness, there is not that flow of life from the person you are to your family members, or to your neighbors, or to your country, or to your community, culture, geography, to earth, to the universe. So there is, in good health, there will be an easy flow between all of these different levels. You can connect with all of these different levels, when you speak about them, you don't get triggered, you don't get reacted. And if you do get reacted, that's a sign that there is some form of a stuck ice, frozen something which is held in. Maybe it could be emotion, it could be some form of something which you're sort of holding on to, and that hurts. And how does that show it hurts is by reactivity. Yeah. Or you in some way hesitate, or you in some way just turn away. You no longer want to talk about it, or you don't feel it is worthy of talking about, or you say, okay, it is somebody else's topic, it's not mine. Yeah, there would be some of one or all of these behaviors by which you can say that there is some form of stuckness, some form of ice that needs to melt for life to flow in those areas of life. Yeah. So, and the more these ices within, these icicles within us melt, that's when a certain level of the ice age would actually have abated. So the more we are carrying the ice age in this way, within our own constitution, the ice is within us, we may really not have moved to the next phase of human evolution, to what human beings can become, what human beings have the potential to manifest. Human beings are meant to be blessings on the planet, in the universe. And if we haven't come to that, then we are in different stages of development. Or we could say, to the extent that there is ice or stuckness within us, to that stage we are kind of developmentally delayed. And when these trauma, those wounds, the stuckness is healed, is now flowing, then development progresses from the seed of life that each one of us is to growing, putting in roots, growing shoot, and then moving through the soil and becoming the tree that we are meant to become, fruiting, flowering. So, and that's where our real potential, our real nature, the light within us begins to start showing, and we're all supposed to be shining like the sun, on earth. And there is supposed to be springtime, new life coming to earth, a new life forming, a new supporting each other. So that's the kind of forest that I envision that is actually there for human beings to form and come into. And that becomes possible the more and more we unfreeze, the more and more we heal the wounds that needs to be healed, or which are inadvertently, one way or the other, for whatsoever many reasons they may have come. Once they heal, then the growth continues, the developmental stages, the developmental milestones get covered, and the seed of life that each one of us is grows along the phases of life, along the paths of peace, and becomes a kind of tree that we are meant to become. Thank you for listening.